Hey seniors, today we're going to be talking about creating tables from equations. So let's go ahead and jump in. On your notes page, go ahead and write tables from equations in the top left-hand corner. Alright guys, the first thing we need to remember is that data can be represented through graphs, tables, and other forms. However, equations can be used to determine further information. Go ahead and write data can be represented through graphs, tables, etc. Alright. And equations can be used to determine further information. So, in order to fill out a table, plug in values for your variables using your equation. Your equation is always going to be the backbone of your table or your graph. So let's go ahead and do an example. Okay, SciTech has decided to buy more pencils for its students. The equation P equals 4S minus 8 represents the relationship between total number of pencils to students. Use the equation to fill in the table below. Now let's talk about our equation for a second. S represents the number of students, and P represents the total number of pencils that SciTech is going to buy. What I want to do to figure out what the value of P is for my table is to plug in my S values into my equation. So I'm going to go ahead and do the first one for you. If I plug in 3 for S, all I'm doing is P equals 4 times 3 minus 8. I want to figure out the total number of pencils if there are 3 students. Well, 4 times 3 is going to give me 12. And 12 minus 8 is going to give me 4. So the total number of pencils for 3 students is going to be 4. Now, let's say I had 6 students. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to plug in 6 for S to figure out the total number of pencils if there are 6 students. Well, 4 times 6 is going to leave me with 24. And then 24 minus 8 is going to leave me with 16. So if I have 6 students, I'm going to need 16 pencils. I guess they lose a lot of their pencils. And lastly, let's plug in 9. If I have P equals, let's change it to a smaller 4. Let's plug in 9 this time. Minus 8. 4 times 9 is going to leave me with 36. Minus 8. So the total number of pencils, if I have 9 students, 36 minus 8 is going to leave me with 28. So that is how we fill out tables. Always use your equation and your variables. Now let's go ahead and, alright, what if SciTech had 50 students? Use the equation P equals 4S minus 8. Now remember, S represents my total number of students. So if it says what if SciTech had 50 students, all we're going to do is plug in 50 for S. So I have P equals 4 times 50 minus 8. 4 times 50 is going to leave me with 200 minus 8. So my total number of pencils is going to be 200 minus 8 will leave me with 192. So if SciTech had 50 students, we would need 192 pencils. Now, again, I know that data can be represented in lots of different ways. So if my equation is P equals 4S minus 8, I can go ahead and graph this because this is in the form y equals mx plus b. We're just using different letters, where 4 is going to be my slope, and negative 8 is going to be my y-intercept. Now, this should be lots and lots of review because this is something we've been doing for a while. So I know that we always start with our y-intercept, so I'm going to go ahead and put a dot on the graph where y is negative 8. Now, if I have a slope of 4, that's the same as 4 over 1 in terms of rise over run. So what this means is we're going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1 for our next point, and up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1 for our next point, and up 4, and over 1. And you'll see that this is making a very steep straight line. That should be a review skill, but again, data can be represented in lots of different ways. Now, sometimes we're going to have to get back to matching equations and verbal descriptions to graphs. So let's read this scenario first. Greg earns $14 per hour that he works. Which graph best models the amount he has earned as a function of the time he has worked? Well, what we need to figure out first is what is our equation. If he earns $14 per hour, whenever I hear per, that normally tells me that I'm going to be plugging in a number to figure out the total. So I know that 14 is going to be my slope, and it's going to be accompanied by a variable. We'll make it h in terms of hours. Now, if it says that he earns $14 per hour that he works, he hasn't worked any hours yet, so our starting point is going to be 0. Now, all I need to do is figure out which one of these graphs below best matches our equation. So I can go ahead and X out answer choice C because its y-intercept starts at 15 and its slope is also not increasing, it's stagnant. Now, these other graphs are showing me y-intercepts that start at 0. However, the best way to figure this out is to plug in 1 for h and figure out how many hours or how much money he's going to earn for just 1 hour of work. Well, if I do that, y equals 14 times 1, so y equals 14. So I want to find the graph that where x is 1, y is 14. So if I look at answer choice D, where x is 1, y is about 8. So that one can't be right. If I look at answer choice B, where x is 1, y is about 4. So that also can't be right. Now, answer choice A, where x is 1, y looks to be about 14, so this one best matches it. So again, we're just going back to matching equations to graphs. Super easy, super review. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Let's go ahead and practice.